What's up guys, we're gonna just do a quick comparison video of the Samsung watches. So right here, these three, we have the current generation, and then over here it's gonna be the previous generation of the Samsung watches. So we're gonna start off over here on the left side. We have the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Then this is gonna be the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, and right next to it is just the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4, which is a more sportier look. And then the previous generation, we have the Gear S2. This is the same one, Gear S2. I just took the bands off of this one. See, Samsung kind of kept a similar design flow since they started with the Gear S2. So the Gear S2 was the original first start of this round circular design, and Samsung has since kept up with that design flow, which is personally my favorite. If you remember before, when Samsung came out with the Gear and even the watches they had before that, for those of you that didn't know, Samsung actually came out with their first watch. It was back in 1999. It was just basically all it could do was make phone calls to where we are today, where the watches can pretty much do anything. So now the previous generation, this one came out in 2015, rotating bezel. Before this, it used to be the square or rectangular looking watches. I think this is where Samsung started taking off with their smartwatches. The more classier look, more stylish. It might not appeal to everybody, but I think the majority people it appeal to. This is why Samsung stuck with this round circular design. So as you can see, pretty similar as far as the design flow goes. Minor changes each year, but as far as that goes, we'll just go over some of the differences and then go from there on the table. Alright, so starting on the left side here, obviously the Watch 5 Pro, that one's available in just one size. It comes with a 45mm display, 1.4 inches, whereas the rest of these I have here, they're all the smaller versions. So I have the Classic, Watch 4 Classic, which comes in either a 42mm or a 46mm display. And then you have the Watch 4, which is also available in the 44mm or a 40mm display. And then the Gear S2, 42-inch and 40-inch display on the Classic version. So as far as the display, they keep a pretty consistent size, which is obviously the standard going around. Now, as far as the operating systems, as you know, Samsung used to use the Tizen, their own Tizen operating system. They have, thank God, transitioned from that. It started off good, but it's just the app support and everything there, it just wasn't there. So I'm glad Samsung finally decided to transition off of the Tizen operating system. It was good, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't bad, but I just think as far as Android Wear operating system, it just has a ton more support. Already a lot of apps available for it. As far as watch faces and everything goes, definitely a good move for Samsung and Google. Now, as far as that goes, the rest of these, like I said, these are all pretty much within the last year. Those all run on the new Android Wear operating system. So starting off over here with the Gear S2. So, like I said, about 2015, this one was released. First design, big design change for Samsung came with this one. Now, as you can see, favorite part, rotating bezel. So this is the standard version. There's also a more classier looking version, which is another great thing because they both have the rotating bezel, and you just can't beat this rotating bezel. I mean, it's just the feel you get when you're turning it. You hear the clicks. It just feels natural, looks better, and it protects the screen more because the screen kind of goes in a little bit, as you can see. Whereas, for example, you got the Watch 4, it's flat. The actual screen sticks out further than the frame itself. So more prone to breaking this screen than you would be breaking that screen. Now, as far as this goes, so this one, like I said, 1.2 inches. This one's 42 millimeters. The classic version comes in 40. Now, this one is stainless steel frame. So frame stainless steel. It's a Corning Gorilla Glass 3. All right, and it ran on Tizen operating system. Now, Samsung uses its own chips to operate and run these phones. It's the Exynos. Probably not the best, but it'll do. Now, back in for 2015, I mean, still, I'd say decent amount of specs and everything that came with this phone. I believe this one was 4 gigabytes of storage. It was like 512 megabytes of RAM. It had all the basics in it, obviously Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.1. Now this one had more of the basic startup for like all the exercise apps and Samsung Health. This is kind of where it started picking up more, with the heart rate, the accelerometer, barometer, all that good stuff. This is where it kind of started picking up more as far as Samsung smartwatches go. Now, this one came with the lithium-ion 250 milliamp battery. Obviously, they're all non-removable, wireless charging. But yeah, that's about it as far as this goes. I mean, yes, I love the design change. And it was a great move for Samsung. As you can see, the standard one comes with just the regular silicone strap, which this is what you definitely want to use if you're out running, if you're swimming or anything like that. You want to use the silicone strap. Decent build quality on the silicone strap. Like I said, this watch is probably, I'd say 6 years old. I don't remember exactly if I got it right when it released, but silicone strap still holding up. I mean, obviously a few scuff marks, things here and there. I think I've changed it once, but they hold up. Now, the button layout and everything, Samsung seems to keep all that the same. I mean, they change the looks as it goes along, but as far as that goes, they've been pretty consistent. Now, going on to the next one, the Galaxy Watch 4. So this is, again, more of a sportier look. Now, I do love these straps. So there's good and there's bad about them. So these are new. It's kind of like a hybrid leather silicone type strap. Yes, it's a great idea. I'm only worried about how it's gonna last. I've already seen some people complaining that theirs are starting to come apart. The glue is coming undone, because you can see this is like more of a leatherish on top, which is great for the looks, but then on the back it's the silicone style, which feels good on the skin, and it just like doesn't like rub your skin or irritate or anything like that. So I do like it. If they could get this a little more perfected, I think it looks pretty good. Now, as far as this goes, as you can see, obviously no rotating bezel on this, which, yeah, that's fine. For people that don't want the rotating bezel, they just want, more fitness tracking, something basic, then this would be the way to go. Now, this one is 40 millimeters. It also comes in 44 millimeters as well. Same thing, 1.2 inch, as far as the size. Now, the Watch 4, this is the first iteration that came with the Wear operating system. That's when Samsung moved to the Wear operating system. And like I said earlier, that was a great move. Android, a lot more apps available, a lot more functionality. Love it. But yeah, this is more maybe appealing to a crowd. I know maybe like females might prefer this more. They might not like the rotating bezel. Who knows? Some guys probably don't like it. Personally, I love the bezel. So that's just the 4, and then we have obviously the Classic. Now, just the difference between these Classic. Oh yes, you just can't beat that click. The click and feel you get with the bezel, you just can't beat that. So this is just a custom band that I ordered. It's all leather. Personally, after using 2 different bands, I still prefer the hybrid. It just, like I said, it just feels better on your wrist, and then you still get the awesome look on the front. Now, another thing you can notice, look at the gap difference. So this is aftermarket. That's Samsung one. Now, there are ones you can find that also have the better gap coverage, but I just think this looks much better than having a gap there. But yeah, the Watch 4 Classic. This has been my daily watch for the past year. It's awesome. I love it. Now, as far as this one goes, this one's available in 42 millimeters or 46 millimeters. Also same. So 1.2-inch display. All of these watches, they run on the Exynos chip. Now the Exynos chip, I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. I mean, there's no issues as far as performance. I mean, the watches, all of them are pretty flashy, scrolls through pretty good. I think where the chip is limiting them is their battery life. As far as like some of the Intel chips and even like the Apple chip, their own has a lot better, battery life efficiency. I think Samsung should eventually, wean off of those, just like they did with they're starting with the phones, like the S22. More markets are now leaning away from that. Just like the Samsung Galaxy Flip 4, they're leaning more away from that. And end result, they're getting better performance with better battery life. And then obviously we'll move on to the newest one right here. Like I said, this is the Watch 5 Pro. Just came out a few weeks ago. I've used this for probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I actually really like this watch. Don't get me wrong, there is no rotating bezel. That's not gonna change as far as my preference. Samsung, listen to everybody out there, please do not take away the rotating bezel. And personally, I don't believe that the rotating bezel is going away. That's just something that they're going to come back with the next version, because I believe this is not a classic. This is a whole watch of its own. It's a Pro. Usually the classics are going to come back with the rotating bezel. I think this is just, a time frame type of thing. Are they going to come out back with it sometime this year? Maybe next year? I don't think the rotating bezel is going away. Even though the way they designed this is pretty cool. So as you can see, this kind of dips in pretty good as compared to this, where this is just flat glass. So you can easily hit it, crack the screen, something like that, and you can tell that there's no bezel. This one actually kind of still, when you're looking at it, you could kind of still think there's a bezel there. And with this dipping in, look how easy it still is to scroll. You can still scroll no problem through there, just like it had a bezel. Now if you come to this one over here, you're like scrolling through and your hand can easily come off. Your finger comes off. Whereas this one, it just kind of keeps the flow going. Like your finger's in there. You have something to follow. But yeah, so I think a few big changes on the Watch 5 Pro that will make a lot of people happy coming from the Watch 4 or the Watch 4 Classic. Now, my favorite thing, battery life. I'm not gonna lie, insane. I think that was the biggest convincing factor for me to kind of give this one more of a shot. As far as performance, both of them perform pretty good, the Classic and this one. But the battery, now this one has a 590 milliamp battery. Yes, it's thicker. It's notably a lot thicker. But you don't actually feel a big difference, or it doesn't look much of a difference. Now, so that's on my hand right there. And obviously this screen's a lot bigger. This one's only a 42 millimeter, that's 45. And as far as the thickness, they still stick up about the same. Kind of hard to compare. Now the reason, I think the reason for that is just the housing on the back, how they designed it. Now, with the 5 Pro, they the outside part is pushed more in, and the actual sensors touch your skin more, so that way it gets you a more accurate reading. And I think that might be a contributing factor to where it's still keeping it kind of looking flat on your hand, which is good. That's a good thing. Now, another great thing about this, it's new sapphire crystal display as well. So not only is it sunk in, it's got the new sapphire crystal. So it's a lot stronger display. Obviously, still probably prone to scratches. Any display is going to be prone to scratches. But another great thing is the titanium frame. Now, titanium frame, lightweight. It's lighter, you know, than the stainless steel, but it gives you a lot better performance as far as I would imagine drop testing, you know, hitting it up against something, things of that nature. But yeah, overall very solid. I'm very happy with the performance, like I said, with this watch. I've been using it for about 2 weeks now, and it's been doing great. Now, this is also a hybrid. Like I said, I'm a fan of the hybrid straps. So you can see silicone, leather there. Only thing, they just gotta, you know, work on that build quality a little bit. It looks great, but as far as it lasting, I think that's where the issue might come, because people have been complaining, like on last year, the Classic 4, that was the biggest complaint about this, is it just starts like coming apart glue. I haven't had that issue yet. This is actually the band that I used on the Classic 4. I just put it on here. But yeah, as you can see, a year later, it still looks pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it. I know a lot of other people have, but it's been working for me. I love it. Now, another cool thing here is, so they actually got the D buckle. So this one, I didn't know how to feel about it at first, and after using it for a couple days, I don't actually mind it at all. I love that you can easily adjust this, you know, the length, and then put it on and it just clicks over. Yes, it's all silicone, but it looks good. The design here, I think it looks good. I don't mind it one bit. Easily comes off and on. Now, the issue you're gonna have with these is the charging. That's where it comes in. So if you have a wireless charger that you share with your phone, things like that, it's not easy to put it flat. So you either have to take the strap off or use the standard charger that comes with it, kind of lay it down, and then just put the charger over it. Whereas this one, I could just put it, boom, it's charging. And that's another issue where this is going to come in if you want to charge your watch off of your phone. You know, for example, the flip. All right, I want to charge my watch. Put the flip down with this one. I could just do that, and that'll charge. But here, I would have to take the strap off because there's no way to lay it flat. So that's the only downfall of using these straps or any other straps that are fully attached like this, that don't have, you know, the buckle that can just easily come undone. That's the other thing. So Samsung, great job. Keep improving on it. But remember, do not get rid of the bezel. We need that bezel.